And it's a privilege and an honour to do it here on the front of Parliament's forecourt, alongside, I think, roughly 1/8 of the band Fat Freddy's Drop. Someone asked me anything during the campaign whether or not we could have a public inauguration and whether or not Fat Freddy's Drop could play. We're quarter of the way there. I want to start by saying it is an enormous privilege and an honour to stand with these wonderful people here in front of you today, in front of your house with your government. And I want to put emphasis on the word your government. We've just come back today from Government House, where we were sworn in officially as members of the Executive Council, as ministers and as parliamentary undersecretaries. We take incredibly seriously the roles and responsibilities that we have adopted today because we took them on behalf of you. Now, not everyone voted for us. This is a democracy. Of course, not everybody voted for us. But we vow that regardless of who you voted for, regardless of where in Aotearoa, New Zealand you live, this will be a government for all New Zealanders. I can make a few more promises to you today as well about the kind of government that we will be. We will be an active government. We will be a strong government. We will be an empathetic government. And we will be a government that works together. There is a lot that we need to do. All of us, regardless of the political parties that we belong to, all of us campaigned because we believe that New Zealand is a wonderful place that can be even better. A place where everyone deserves a decent job with decent wages, where everyone should be able to access the healthcare they need when they need it. A place where education can and should be world class. A place where we protect our environment and we can stand and say, hand on heart, that we're a society that should be judged on how we look after our most vulnerable, our elderly and our children, and that will be proud to be judged on how well we look after our elderly and our children. But you'll hear from that list that we have a lot to do, and we cannot and we will not do it alone. I vow that as a government we will work with anyone who shares our values and our belief that New Zealand can be better. We will work with the business community. We will work with NGOs and community organisations. We'll work with Māori. We will work collaboratively to achieve all of the goals that we have collectively set out, whether they're in our portfolios or as a team. We will work together. And And that work begins today. After we leave the forecourt, we'll be gathering together as a ministry at 3 p.m. this afternoon to begin the work that we pledged we would undertake when we sought your vote. And on behalf of everyone standing behind me, I want to leave my final words as a word of thanks. Thank you for the faith you have placed in us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for the confidence you have given us. And I can tell you, there will be good days and there will be bad days. But no matter what, we will always remember the vote that you gave us, the vote of support, and the debt of gratitude that we owe you and that we owe New Zealand. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go and do this.
to be there.
She's going to be here, all right? Right here. All right. Anyone need a white balance? Whose is this stuff?
I don't know, just the
Yeah.
thing you lose it.
Doesn't worry me.
People behind her?
He's like, can you do quality report?
That's what Ian said, but she was
I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, the sun is shining. Ah.
I know.
Yeah, Ian said behind her. Standing here.
No, it's a better shot of the people, I reckon, in the background.
So you get the people?
Even with the sun, I still think it's better with the people behind.
Okay. She'll be squinting, won't she?
Yeah. It's up over there, and she's looking this way.
Yeah. You happy with it?
It's a cool looking shot back that way. I really good.
That is popular.
So cute. Penny getting us
She gets the flowers. There's the guy with the flowers. That's just a fraction.
Yeah.
Thanks, Audrey. Bloody turned on.
All right, well, thank you for joining us on the steps of Parliament. I know it's traditional for the stand-up to usually happen at Government House, but I thought it would be nice to do it here for a change. I'm happy to take questions.
How are you feeling?
Oh, humbled and extraordinarily privileged.
What is your first priority when you meet with the Cabinet this afternoon?
Of course, some of our 100-day commitments we really need to act urgently on if we are to get the legislation through in time. We'll be discussing the 100-day plan next week. This first Cabinet meeting this afternoon is really an induction, just the beginning of our work plan, but we're getting straight into it.
So you've got a full cabinet meeting on Monday, did you say?
Full Cabinet meeting on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
This afternoon and then Tuesday.
You don't have a lot of time ahead of before APEC. Will you be putting some work in on the TPP?
Yes, I will.
What is it the priority in terms of the negotiations?
Of course, as I said in the lead up to the election, of course, for us a priority, regardless of whether it's TPP or any other agreement, is making sure we have the ability to ban foreign buyers from buying existing homes in New Zealand. So that remains a priority to work through, and we've already started that work. And of course, needing to make sure that we've got our negotiating position clear for TPP 11 as well.
Who will be the negotiation team?
We've got our existing negotiation team, but of course accompanying me to APEC will be Mr Peters as Foreign Affairs Minister and Mr Parker as our Trade Minister.
Do you plan to talk to Shinzo Abe before you go to APEC?
At this stage, I don't believe there is talks planned, but there may well be.
As your Minister of Responsibilities for Children, what will be your top priorities there?
Yeah, so I've taken on a very specific part of that portfolio, and that's child poverty reduction. My view is that if we are to be a government that is known for looking after the most vulnerable, children have to be our top priority. For us, it's about reducing down the impact of poverty and poverty itself. So at the moment, I'm setting up the structures to make that happen.
And what is that? In terms of structures, what does that mean? What will it
I'm
be?
looking to establish a unit within DPMC that will have oversight of things like child poverty measures so that we can make sure that we are reducing child poverty in New Zealand.
You mentioned there was one addition and one subtraction to your 100-day plan. Are you able to outline what those are?
My intention is to more fully outline our 100-day plan next week when Cabinet meets.
You said yesterday that it was your plan to get unemployment below 4%. What are some of the ways that you plan on doing that?
Our strong focus on regional economic development should certainly be an instigator of ensuring that we lift employment. We also have a number of programs that are focused on assisting those who may have been in unemployment for some time to get work experience, like our Ready to Work program. So it will be a multitude of approaches, both around job creation and around supporting those who need it.
So, sorry, you'll outline your new 100-day plan on Tuesday, is that right?
Yes, as I say, very little will change, but I will be making sure that we highlight again the exact program that sits around that 100-day plan.
Is there any budget in that?
There may well be a mini budget in that. There may well be a mini budget in
What does
that.
that mean? I mean, you'd actually pass it and call it a mini budget.
There are elements of it that could be wrapped into a mini budget. We're seeking advice on whether that's required.
Banning
government
foreign
has
home
moved.
buyers, banning foreigners from buying homes in the 100-day plan. You still want to get that done by March?
Yes, I think it's clear that we need to work through that, particularly as we enter into those stages of negotiation around TPP 11. I've already started the work on that alongside colleagues and alongside our civil servants, and I'm looking to present where we've got to as soon as I'm able.
But you need to pass that change to the TPP to allow that ban to go ahead. Is that correct?
Yes, but that gives us a little bit of time. That gives us into at least early next year.
When would you look to be passing a mini budget?
Look, when we sit down as a cabinet, we'll be working through first whether or not that's required, and then when it would be required by.
The government's moved very quickly to readjust Tēnā Pora's compensation package. Can you explain the thinking behind that?
It was always our view at the time that Tēnā Pora was awarded his compensation package that it was only fair that given the criteria for setting that compensation was roughly 10 years old, that Mr Pora's compensation should also be inflation adjusted. The government took a different view. We contested that at the time and made a commitment that when we were in a position to do so, we would make sure we'd do what was fair and right.
In terms of today, did you expect the reception you got?
No. That was really lovely to arrive at Parliament and see that people had taken time out of their day, time out of school, probably time out of work to come and join us. It was lovely.
Cool. And in terms of today as well, swearing your oath, is it the most exciting day so far?
It has been extraordinarily exciting. Humbling, though, is probably the word I would use. We have so much work to do, though. I imagine it will probably be roughly Christmas time before I think too much about the last 3 months, which have been extraordinary.
PM, you seem to look a little nervous until the Governor-General finally read out that you were the Prime Minister. Do you think something might go wrong?
I think you might have been mistaking excitement for nerves. It is a very formal setting and environment. I think it's natural that probably people look a little bit nervous in that context.
Have you literally moved to the 9th floor yet?
No, that move will happen over the weekend. We're in the process of packing up our office. Till then, I've continued to work out of the Leaders' Lounge in Parliament House.
But you're in the Cabinet office this afternoon?
We will be in the Cabinet office this afternoon. Don't need to move much from there.
Are you any closer to booking your first trip to Australia? And do you think there is a rift to heal there?
I don't believe there's a rift to heal there. As I said, some of my first conversations on the night that I became Prime Minister designate were with Australian leaders. So no, I don't believe there's a rift, but I think it's of course beneficial if we make sure we keep that relationship strong. Prime Minister.
Winston Peters said yesterday that the relationship with Australia is not where it should be. Do you agree with that? And where should it be?
Look, when you look at a policy context, there are always things that we could and should be advocating around. There is a depth to our relationship, absolutely, but we do need to make sure we keep advocating, particularly for New Zealanders in Australia, and we'll do so.
Prime Minister, I think comparing to your MP salary this time last year, the Prime Ministerial salary, I think it's a 208% increase. What do you make of that pay rise?
Look, I know that for working people that is an extraordinary jump. I've got to make sure that I'm constantly aware of the experience and the living standards for working New Zealanders, and I am aware of that, and I have been as long as I've been an MP.
Have you received any advice about the US ambassador's actions and stuff?
No, I have not. Okay, all right, thanks everyone. No, I will not be seeking any advice. From all accounts, the State Department has dealt with it.
How are you going to be employing the first year of free study by the 2018 union legislation?
At the time that we announced it, we worked through some options, making sure we knew that it would come with some difficulties to roll out immediately. We came up with what we believed were a range of workable options. Officials are now working through those also. It is possible, but it will mean we will need to act quickly and within that 100 days.
Are you telling prospective students right now, you don't have to save this money right now, you can rely on it?
We're committed to that policy, absolutely. All right, thanks everyone.
Maybe the one side.